Y'all, UFO sightings are everywhere. We see them almost daily. But UFO abductions and close encounters are more rare. However, they tend to have a bigger impact, not just on the people that experience the abduction or close encounter, but those around them, their family, their friends, psychiatrists, because some of them do need help after. These are some of the strangest interactions with UFOs. And if you think that we have little information on flying objects, we know even less about abductions and why they happen. Now, sometimes it's a full-on, come on down, suck you up into the ship and put a probe in you, like Betty and Barney Hill. But sometimes it's a little bit more subtle. Maybe they're not abducting people fully into their craft and more taking their time and attention, which leads to the missing time and gaps in people's memories. One of those more timid UFO contact events occurred in Voronezh, Russia. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It was then part of the Soviet Union. It occurred September 27th of 1989. Citizens of Voronezh reported seeing UFOs across the sky for days prior to the event, when eventually a red glowing craft landed in a public park, witnessed by many adults and children alike. This craft didn't just land, apparently it opened up and three very tall, very large humanoid figures came out of the craft with a little being that to them seemed more robotic, maybe like a robot or AI assistant. One thing of note is that they were said to be 9 to 10 feet tall, which is really strange. It's a pattern that we're seeing even in recent cases, like the Las Vegas UFO incident and the Miami Mall UFO incident that did or didn't happen, and we still don't really know what the hell happened there. But they tend to be 9 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet tall. We're getting that same range each time. And I don't know, when you see a pattern, these weren't your typical beings. While humanoid, they weren't tall grays or tall whites. These beings were described as, I guess, huskier would be the best way to describe it. And they had 3 eyes. And from the way that the witnesses drew, which you will see, their heads almost looked like, I get the best way I can describe it is like Juggernaut's helmet, but then like with 3 eyes. It's really, really weird stuff. But when we talk about UFO sightings and UFO abductions and contacts like this, we do often talk about the various different possible races of extraterrestrials. So it's quite possible this is just a 3-eyed race of aliens. So it wasn't just the 3 eyes that were weird. They had a strange glow to them, like a weird aura. And their space suits, as they were called, were silver and shimmery. Very luxurious, if you ask me. I feel like if I were an alien, yeah, I'd have like some silver or gold, like opulent looking space suit. Now, while this wasn't a traditional abduction, as in like they took them into the craft, I do say it was an abduction of time and mind, as some witnesses described the beings as pointing devices at some of them, and they seemed paralyzed. I mean, I can only imagine what was happening from that person's point of view and how they perceived time in that moment. The whole thing is weird and rife with mystery, missing time, unclear memories, but the witnesses are telling all saying this is what the aliens look like though. And they were so big that for kids it must have been terrifying. There's even a little girl who was like, it was so tall, I actually didn't get to see the head. Like they just saw the body. I was like, oh my God, as a kid, that must be terrifying. But these things were big and they were brooding and they were described the same by everyone. But the series of events around them is just so eerie, and I feel like different people perceive different things. Like if I was witnessing someone getting frozen in time or paralyzed or whatever happened to them, obviously I'm going to continue seeing things. I don't know if they're still seeing that. I don't know what's happening to them. What are they seeing? I don't know. The whole thing is freaking weird. And UFO Secret Files has put together, compiled a clip of the witnesses with their drawings, with their story, translated to English for your viewing pleasure and to get a better understanding of this story. So take a look at this and let me know in the comments what you think about this UFO close encounter.
In September of 1989, something happened in the city of Voronezh, 200 miles south of Moscow, which caught the attention of the world press. For several weeks, strange lights were seen over the city. Then on September the 27th, it was reported that a spacecraft landed in one of the city's public parks, from which 3 alien giant figures emerged. Drawings of the landings by children who were there capture the event vividly. Sergei Makarov was one of the school children who was in the Voronezh park.
I remember a crowd that gathered around the place. Everybody was scared. Everybody turned pale. I was absolutely flabbergasted.
Denis Bozhenko was also one of the boys in the park on that day in September 1989.
I saw some traces there, and also a strange man. Outwardly, he looked like any other man, only he was huge. A moment later, he suddenly disappeared.
I had no doubt that the UFO and the giants existed, because I saw them. But sometimes when I look back, it seems sort of like a fairy tale.
The creatures started coming out. They did not look too much like humans. They were much taller than humans. They did have shoulders, but I didn't see the head.
We walked. We look and see this ball, such a brilliant iridescent flew. We ran to that gate, reached and stopped. It hung there.
Where is the object head?
Here, it flew, then hung at the level of a poplar tree.
What is poplar?
This one, nearby.
Right at the level of the top of the poplar tree hung?
No,
Where?
in the middle part of it.
Show it not as you are told, but as you saw it yourself.
Here, well, somewhere over there. Could you see? See this lamp on the pole, approximately at this level.
And so clear. And where? Near the poplar.
Yes, and right here, where Yura Sergachev right there. Stood, sat down there, landed, and the light changed. Stood for 10 minutes, or maybe 5 minutes. Something we were afraid, and he rose a little, and meter and a half, and disappeared. Still, I look like the outline of a person. Its appearance, you know, like a pencil drawing, is just a sapling. Only his head was big.
What were your ears like? It was like your ears. Did you notice?
There were no ears at all, and no hair, bald just.
What about eyes? Maybe at your nose?
The eyes were there, and there is the nose. You know, that's how it diverges.
Why?
He was about that height. We didn't see his face.
I find it absolutely fascinating and completely believable, especially when I see the kids like, and they're like, yeah, we saw, like, that's like, why is a kid gonna come up and follow this lie with the adults? And even if they did try to, they would end up lying or messing up because they're kids. They don't know what they're talking, unless they actually saw it and they're like, bro, it was like this. So yeah, I feel like that adds credence to it. I think the whole thing is wild. I think it's interesting to look at the fact that we've had not just UFO sightings, but we've had close contacts. We've had UFO abductions. We have so many things that are unexplained with extraterrestrial beings being involved that even when you don't look at the UFO aspect of it, something is going on. Right, I know that I like to watch a lot of the videos, including the debunked videos. So, you know, there's a lot of information everywhere, and you never know. So sometimes we're wrong, sometimes we're right. I like to watch everything. But when someone's fully like, well, no, there's like no aliens, I'm like, okay, just take out the UFO stuff and even the debunked like UFO flying stuff. Weird-ish has happened that we can't explain, and sometimes other beings are in this, and whether they're interdimensional, as some in Congress say, or extraterrestrial, or whatever the hell they are, something is definitely happening, and it's freaking weird. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you made it this far, smash like. I'll see you next time.